Matt Eberflus is gone. Insert Thomas Brown. And the Chicago Bears got a huge game versus the San Francisco 49ers, the first game for Thomas Brown. How can Thomas Brown become the front runner for the Chicago Bears head coaching search? And y'all know it's mailbag day, so we're going to get into that as well. We're going to do all that, but you got to hear the music first.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back in to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears. I'm Bobby. I'm joined by C-Dubb. And if y'all tuned in for the first time, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get ready to bear down, because we all way down. C-Dubb, what's the word, though?
What's up, man? What's up, man? Let's talk about Thomas.
Let's talk about Thomas Brown. Well, after a blunder on Thanksgiving inserts Thomas Brown into the forefront as now the guy, the interim head coach for your Chicago Bears. A lot of good things said coming out from Thomas Brown and his coaches this week, including the players. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much coming out there, letting things know we moving on to something better. It wasn't working what was there. Now we moving on. Thomas Brown got a tall task ahead of him, though. 5 games left on the season. Definitely planning himself inside the head coaching search for the Chicago Bears. Some notable names is Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel. We heard Liam Cohen. We heard Marcus Freeman. But C-Dubb, let's focus on Thomas Brown. How can Thomas Brown become the front runner for the foreseeable future as the Chicago Bears kick off this head coaching search?
Honestly, nephew, I really don't think he have much of a chance when this season ends, because I think the Chicago Bears will want to make sure that they got the right guy for their franchise going forward for a long time. But I ain't saying there's no chance that he cannot do it. It's really going to be on compass if he can move these players and have these players follow him. If he can get the touch and the vibe of these players and get them playing I think it got to be like 5-0 football. You got to win all 5 games. We talking about for him to stay as head coach. The players got to vouch for him. The assistant coaches got to vouch for him, and the fans got to vouch for him. And the way you could tell if the fans vouch for him is you go win 5 games. And I think the playoffs are out of the question. Even the wild card is probably out of the question, even though mathematically you're not counted out yet. Got to win all these 5 games and hope that you got the vouchers from the fans, from the players, and from the assistant coaches.
For sure. I think that Thomas Brown got one thing working for him, and that's the relationship with him and Caleb Williams. So that's something that you definitely have to strongly consider. I think, number one, he's going to have to get these wins. I don't necessarily believe he's going to go 5-0, but if he does, that adds on to what the belief is on how good of a leader he is. C-Dubb, I don't think he got a high bar to jump over, though. Because guess when the last time the Chicago Bears won a road game?
Never. Did they never?
He talking about never. The last time the Bears won a road game, they won road games, bro. But I'm going to help you. They won the last road game as a team in 2021. The Chicago Bears haven't won a road game in 3 years. So if Thomas Brown, you go to Levi Stadium in California and you beat the 49ers, you already cleared the bar. At least one of them, right? And then C-Dubb, I'm saying, now I know it's not the end all be all, but I like to beat the Packers. I will like to beat the Vikings. I will like to beat the Lions. If you can win 2 out of those 3, you got to strongly consider how he's already competing in a short sample size with those in the division. It's still going to be a hard hill to climb, in my personal opinion. I agree with you on that part. And I think the chances are very, very slim with a lot of room to grow upward for Thomas Brown.
So it actually set up pretty nicely uh, for Thomas Brown if he want to so-called prove himself for this job. If you look at the final games of the season, you got the first game coming out, you the head coach, go and beat the 49ers. Y'all kind of on the same level. 49ers facing the same kind of disappointments that the Bears kind of are. Then you go to the Vikings. Uh you could be a division rival in the Vikings. Then you go to the Lions, probably the best team in the NFL. Could you go into Detroit? I think we in Detroit, or we
Yeah,
might
we
be in
will. No, we'll be in Chicago this time.
we'll be in Chicago. You in Chicago, you beat Detroit in front of the Chicago fans. Then you go in Seattle, you got a practice game against the Seattle
Oh
Seahawks.
no, that ain't no practice game.
I'ma just
You
call it.
is tweaking. It
I'ma
is
just
not a practice
I
game. Do you
feel you.
see Williams on that D line?
I see.
Oh
I
my
know what you're
God.
saying. I know what you're saying. But a practice game to get everything set for your Super Bowl of
Oh, okay.
2024 against the Green Bay Packers at the end of the year,
The
because that's
Bears going
probably
to the Super Bowl.
that is the
Woo!
final game of the season. It is our Super Bowl. If you could beat the Packers, you could get all type of love. You can get the Chicago Bears fans feeling good for the offseason. You can get the coaches and the GMs having to make a difficult decision. Make this decision difficult for Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren. Make it difficult. Win out. I know it's a tough gauntlet of games, but that Super Bowl at the end is the deciding factor.
What if he goes 3-2?
Nope.
Not good enough. What if he
Nope.
goes 4-1?
Who he lose to?
Let's say he just loses to Seattle, in Seattle.
Still up
I
there.
believe
Still
they
got a
in
chance.
Seattle.
Still got a chance. Cannot
Okay.
lose to Minnesota.
So these
Lions.
division games is what's gonna help the tournament, is what you saying.
Yes, he cannot lose none of them division games. I damn near want to say he can't lose to Seattle. He can't lose a game, nephew, to tell you the truth. Especially he can't lose the first game he's stepping out to. He can't lose it.
I think this the only game you you should be able to be like, all right, we'll take that.
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
I'm just saying, because
They
they
in
expect this
turmoil,
man to
too.
go 5-0. That bar high.
Nephew,
That wasn't even a bar set for Matt Eberflus.
nephew, this is we all fucked up bowl that's gonna come up this Sunday. We all fucked up. San Francisco fucked up, and we fucked up. So if we lose that, we all the way fucked up. So we can't lose that game against San Francisco.
I got one last question before we move into the mailbag. Remember last season, we want Fields from the fans in the locker room. I don't think there's no quarterback out there that's better than Justin Fields, said DJ Moore. And a lot of guys start rallying around him. My question is what happens if these players, on top of the wins, let's assume he gets some wins, we'll say 3 or 4, just for the sake of discussion. Let's say he get 4 wins, and then players start coming out and vouch for him. My question is, do you think after those players vouch, Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren go select another head coach? Do you think that will fracture your locker room?
I'm just thinking about these players that we got on our Chicago Bears, because normally I don't think that will fracture the locker room. But these players are over emotional in our locker room, and they kind of, with this false loyalty they got up in there. So I think it might be a problem, even though I still think he's gonna go and get somebody else. That's what I still think.
For sure.
I think it'll be a little bit of turmoil. Just judging off how this team is, it'll be a little bit. But you got to get over it, just like you getting over it, even though it took like 3/4 the damn season to get over it. You still got over it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily know what'll happen if the players go out there and fight for Thomas, and if the Bears go and hire somebody else. It could very well turn out to be a bad thing if the guy that comes in is a complete bozo. But if he comes in and know what he's doing, I believe these guys will rally behind him and understand what's at stake right now. But that's it. Y'all let us know all y'all thoughts and comments down below on that. It is time to get into the mailbag portion of this episode. C-Dubb, we got a returning member. The first one up, Barry.
fellas, it's Barry. Listen, boys, the flus has been cut loose. And guys, this has been amazing for me. This fucking clown flus, he was giving me moderate to severe ulcerative colitis this year, fellas. That's why I haven't been calling in as much, because my stomach's been in knots. But anyway, fellas, on to the next head coach, okay? I've been a Ben Johnson guy all the way through, but here's the thing, fellas. I've liked everything I've seen and heard from Thomas Brown. And he's a common theme, guys. We all want the best coach available, but every Bear fan that I talk to in my family and my friends and on the internet, we're all kind of pulling for Thomas Brown to be this fucking Rocky story. We would love him to be that lottery ticket that the Bears never seem to get in terms of a great coach that we stumbled on. Other teams get that kind of shit. Why can't we have it? So I think that Thomas Brown's got a real shot, but it's all going to depend on the next 5 weeks, because when he was in Carolina, he was the offensive coordinator, which, bad year for anybody's resume last year for them. But it was Frank Reich that was calling the shots. It was Frank Reich's playbook, and he only called a few games. And same thing here. This is Shane Waldron's playbook. So what we've seen is that he's a pretty damn good play caller, but what kind of play designer is he, fellas? That's what we don't know about Thomas Brown. Is it going to be a little McVay flavor when he has a full offseason to develop his playbook? I'm rooting for the guy. I would love him to be our kind of homegrown lottery ticket, but we got to guard ourselves about not being rose-colored glasses, right, fellas? Because whether the Cinderella story is there or not, what I want is the best head coach for the Chicago Bears to have that kind of fucking our own Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin, one of those guys that just makes you serious as a heart attack for 20 years, fellas. I need it like I need fucking oxygen. So anyway, fellas, that's all I wanted to say. I'm pulling for Thomas Brown. Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's see how the next 5 weeks look. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Chicago up a bit. Fuck that.
Chicago up a bit. Fuck that. You heard, Barry. C-Dubb, take it away.
I understand everybody's excitement about this situation, and I don't want to say everybody excited about the firing, but everybody's excited about the firing. Somehow that sounds kind of crazy to me, but yeah, we should be excited about the firing. I just want everybody to just be realistic. We have to get the best guy for the job. He got a high cliff to climb. I'm just telling you. Everything has to go perfect for Thomas Brown to win the heart and minds of this franchise and this fandom. Not saying there's not a chance. There is a chance, but we have to make sure we get this part right. We're in the final stages of this Ryan Poles build to a competitive team. I'm going to give him another offseason. I think he deserves that. And I think on that to-do list is making sure that head coaching job is found, is stamped, and is not a worry for the foreseeable future for the Chicago Bears franchise.
For sure. And I agree with that too. And I did mention along with you, and I agree with the sentiment, and along with Barry. Let's take our time with it. You know what I'm saying? Let's not jump off the porch. Yes, we love how Thomas Brown talks. Yes, we love how he has called plays for Caleb Williams, but now he is the head of the snake. And the head of the snake got to lead the rest of the body. So lead the rest of the body. We're going to be evaluating him for 5 weeks. It's going to be it is a tall task. But hey, he said pressure is a privilege. And when you got those expectations, you can either fall to them or you can overcome them. So we'll see what happens with Thomas Brown, but I'm with you and Barry. Let's make sure we get the right guy. Let's allow Thomas Brown to just go through his 5 weeks, and then later at the week, we'll see what happens for sure. But appreciate you, Barry. It's good hearing from you, man. Ain't heard from you in a minute. They talking about that they gave you irritable bowel syndrome. That's crazy. Stomach and knots. Sheesh. But nonetheless, let's move on. C-Dubb, this next one here is from Book.
Yo, Bobby C-Dubb, this Book, man. Blessings to you and yours. Hey, I got a little scenario, man. I wanna run by y'all, man, and see how y'all feel about it. Well, not so much of a scenario, much more of a thought that I had when it comes to Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles, because there's been a lot of talk about the dynamic between those two in their press conference, and this is what I think or rather, this is what I hope is happening with that, with the whole thought, with the whole process of the new hiring of the coach, of the new head coach, if they move on from Thomas Brown. I think that Kevin Warren is going to get himself more involved, or I hope that he gets himself more involved as more of a protection for Ryan Poles, so that the McCaskies don't quote unquote influence his decisions, or anybody that they want to bring in as a head coach and as a suggestion, because we see how that has always worked. It hasn't worked. So I'm thinking that Kevin is going to get more involved so he can veto, like, because he's the president, so he can be like, no, we're not going this way. We're going to go this way. You hired me to, to get this team in shape. You hired Poles to get this team in shape. Let us do our job. Let the football people do the football things. Because, like, it's coming out that Matt Eberflus wasn't really a Poles hire. And if you remember that he was given a short list of who to choose from. So I'm thinking now Warren is going to, veto that to make sure there is no list. They're going to make the decision together, and he's going to run interference and protection for Ryan Poles. So just let me know what y'all think about that, man. Like I said, I hope this is what's happening and not more just like a hostile takeover for Warren. But just give me y'all thoughts of what y'all think. Shout out to the familiars. Shout out to everybody. Happy holidays. Chicago up, bear down. Let's get this win tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely hoping that the Chicago Bears get this win. I look at the Kevin Warren, Ryan Post situation as, hey, they doing their job. The president, a lot of the times when shit is going to be in flux, he's going to go down to the guy that's below him and tell his GM, hey, we need to get this thing right on track. And for the people that come out and say, Kevin Warren is not a football guy, guys, this man has been Big Ten commissioner. He's been a part of the winning organization. When the Rams, when it was Kurt Warner and those guys, he was a part of that. He's been a part of the Vikings in their department as well. He has an extensive resume. And you just got to hope that these guys, y'all seen the press conference that Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren did? Guess what George and all the other McCaskey was at? Off to the side. Keep them stupid motherfuckers off to the side and let the football people make the decisions, because it was being reported that they wanted to get rid of Flus after the Patriots game. Ladies and gentlemen, George McCaskey has cost the Chicago Bears a chance at a playoff berth because they had their heads up their backside. So Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, push the motherfuckers to them 3 seats off to the side and get the job done. If that's Thomas Brown, Ben Johnson, whoever, get it together.
Yeah. I want to speak about that hire list that we had, and I'm glad that Kevin Warren is abolishing that aspect of it at the very least. Whenever a new GM comes into any franchise, rather it football, NBA, even baseball, and all other sports, I think it's natural for them to want to have their guy leading the ship. You know what I'm saying? So when you give them a list and the guys that they don't want to be the coach, and you tell them this is the small stream you're gonna pluck your fish from, is these guys right here, Matt Eberflus and a bucket of chicken or something like that, whoever else he had up on that damn list. You kind of add some animosity or some sports animosity or some sports tension to the whole relationship for the tenure that it goes on. So when I always see a new GM, they always, most of the time, get their guys in there. And if it's not like a demigod, like a coach that's well respected, that's won championships, that always wins during the season, it's gonna be some tension there. So I can see that this happened, and I don't, that's what they're saying from the reports, that that's the only guy. He was like in a pool that he had to choose, and I don't think that's a good thing from the jump. But now there's no excuses, because now you go in there, Ryan Poles, and you get the guy that you want, bro.
That's it. That's all. Well, we appreciate the call, Book. Next one, C-Dubb. This coming from Big Steve.
Steve.
Hey, brothers. Hope everybody's well. Real quickly, I had a thought, man. I hear everybody talking about Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson this, and Me personally, I'm not big with dudes. And tell me if you guys just take on this. Ben Johnson is being blowed up across the NFL as this great offensive guru coach. And when I look at Ben Johnson and what he done with Detroit, you got to remember he was handed Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was handed Montgomery. I mean, hell, he got him from us. And golf and all these players. He fell into a great situation. And not to say that he wouldn't fall into a great situation coming to Chicago. But I think one thing, the way I'm looking at it is that as great as he has been with Detroit as their offensive coordinator, and as lousy as the Bears have been playing, and over the last couple of years have been told to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, we beat Detroit every year under his offensive scheme. Every year, the Bears beat Detroit. Last year, we should have beat them twice, but we still split it 1-1. So I can't buy in on this. Ben Johnson is going to change the Bears offense and franchise because my horrible Bears, who I dearly love, constantly go up to Detroit or bring them to Chicago and spank them with his offense. If y'all don't, it's just something to think about, man. It's just something to think about. Chi-Town up, bear down.
Big Steve is definitely something to think about. But I will say this: we can't fault Ben Johnson for his GM doing his fucking job. We can't fault Ben Johnson for his GM going out and getting St. Brown, going out and get J-Mo, going out and building this offensive line, going out and getting Derrick Henry, going out and get Sam Laporta. We can't fault the GM for doing his job. And when we look at Ben Johnson, a few years ago, he was there. He'd been part of this organization for the last 3 years. And in that first year he was running it, that's the year that they had that 9-8 season and beat the Packers at the end of the season. I understand that Matt Eberflus and some matchups got the best of Ben Johnson for the most part. But these are divisional games. They go either way. You typically know the tendencies of a team when you constantly play them every single year. So I won't fault Ben Johnson for just simply doing his job. Yeah, he probably had some shortcomings versus the Chicago Bears, but what has the Lions been doing for the last 3 seasons? Constantly building and building to where they are viewed as, at the best, a top 5 team, maybe even top 3. You can't fault him for his GM doing his job.
But I do want to recommend patience and just slow down because there are red flags, and I don't think we've been paying attention to red flags when it comes to decisions with the Chicago Bears. There's red flags with Matt Eberflus. There were red flags with what was our offensive coordinator name, nephew?
Luke.
Who?
Luke and Shane
Waldron. There were red flags. There's red flags with Ben, the offensive coordinator. Has he been the head coach yet? Do we want to go through the same road? Maybe the personnels don't match up the same. It's a different personnel. You come over there, even though I think it'll work, we still got the same type of weapons. It's a different type of personalities, different type of personnel over here. Will that work? Look at all the red flags now. I think we need a more seasoned head coach. I'm just saying.
For sure. I respect it. I ain't mad at that. But we appreciate the call, Big Steve C-Dubb. It's time to get into the next one. This next one is from Milton.
Yo, Chicago Bears Central Cognac Boys, Haize, Bobby C-Dubb, Big Camp Steve-O. This is Milton in the Dark Knight from calling from Virginia Beach once again. And yo, it's the Thomas Brown show. It's time to see what this man is made of. Him and especially Eric Washington. This defense, just want to see how they're going to, get this game going on the week for the rest of this month. So we just have to see how that's going to turn out. But do you think that they're going to, if he's good enough to bring Eric Washington on as an assistant head coach, /offensive line coach, that'll be a good thing. Number 2, Bill Belichick is a big red flag for me because he already won 6 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowls with the New York City Giants as the DC, and then you got the Patriots has their head coach, but I would say 5 because of the whole Deflategate him and Tom Brady admitted to. But I digress. Yes, I'm throwing shade at him. I don't care. Um, Number 3, I would say they don't need to be paying these coaches all this money. Not for them 5 years. This is Chicago Bears, not Marvel Studios. Okay, you don't have multi-ticket deals here. Okay, and for Bobby, I'd like to give you a big shout out for calling me, shout me out about the aura thing, and especially what it made up of with that acronym. But I had to give C-Dubb some props too, because he have another ability on there, stability, and I also got some extra bonus words on there: coachability, durability, sustainability. Those 3, those are the extra ones I have for right now. But anyway, gentlemen, that's it for my call this week. As always, Chicago up, Bear down. Hope y'all enjoying your weekend. And, FGB, and I'll holler at you on the next one.
It's always FGB, Milton. C-Dubb, what you got?
I wish you guys would stop being scared of Bill Belichick. He did not have the roster at the end of his tenure with New England. They were not going to win. I think he was not a good GM at the latter parts of their reigns. He is most respected coach in NFL history. He is the best coach in NFL history. I won't Bill Belichick. I'm sorry, guys.
For sure. I ain't mad at that. I will say that I push back on Bill Belichick, not because I don't understand how great he is, because I know he is, but I just push back because I want something that's a little bit more long term. This man is 72, 73 years old. We expect him to coach until 80, or when Caleb Williams retire. Maybe he could do that. Andy Reid still running with Pat Mahomes because he's trying to stack them chips. I ain't mad at it. So Bill Belichick could very well see that. But C-Dubb, Bill Belichick he been kind of throwing little slights at Caleb. I ain't gonna lie. Saying that the preseason was kind of mid. It was mostly highlights, and then I forgot it was a couple other things that he said. But you live with it. And I will say this to add to your point, something that I overheard that I never really thought about. Bill Belichick was good until he wasn't good, and the same thing can be said about Kyle Shanahan right now. He was good at player personnel, drafting and picking up players and finding different personnel. How has Kyle Shanahan looked the last few years picking his own personnel? His team is old and they're broken down. So I understand it to a degree from both sides. So for right now, we'll see what Bill Belichick want to do, because my man just took a college coaching interview the other day. So we'll see.
Stop trying to get rid of Bill Belichick.
We're not trying. He trying to get rid of himself. What is you talking about? Why you take the interview? That's all I'm saying.
Scared, y'all. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
For sure. But hey, we finna get into this last one. This last one is from Keys.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is Keys, man. Just checking in with you guys on this Friday evening. Just wanted to go over the game plan this week. Now, the Bears, they're facing a depleted, but yet still good coached 49ers team. And with the injuries that they have of Bosa, Trent Williams, the main figures, Christian McCaffrey, the backup running back, this is no better time than for Caleb Williams and Thomas Brown and our defense to take advantage of what's in front of them. It's been a tumultuous 10 days, you could say, for that Bears team, and I'm sure they're sick of answering questions and doing those things like that. But they got to come out, show up and show out. So, Caleb, this is a game where I think he could potentially put up not just 300 yards, but 3 to 4 touchdowns. And I think one of the guys that's got to show up with him too is Roma Dunze. He's been kind of, quiet because DJ and Keenan been getting off. But not only Rome, but also Cole Kmet. These are two guys that I expect with those two main focal points going to be keyed in by the 49ers defense. I believe that those two guys will step up and come out with a touchdown apiece and at least 5 catches. And I'm going to say hopefully 70 to 80, maybe 100 yards apiece. We'll see how it goes. But then we look at the defense. I think it was Bobby who said it, but that defense looked really good in the preseason when Aaron Washington was calling that defense. And you've seen a lot more blitz. You've seen a lot more pressure, putting the foot on the throat of motherfuckers and saying, hey, man, we finna come right here. We finna fuck y'all shit up, take y'all bitches, and go home. You know what I'm saying? So I think with this defense and this defensive play caller that we got, we'll see a lot more of that happening. And I expect if we call pressures, I need our linebackers and T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, they got to have a game. They got to have a game, and they got to lead this defense. Montez Sweat even, like, it's time, big dog. I know you've been getting double teams. It's been a long season, but, that's what I expect. And I'm going to call it, man. I think the Bears got a chance of 24-20, man. So let me know what you think. As always, Chi-Town up, bear down.
Shout out to Keys, man. Appreciate the call. I say this. Number one, I appreciate the love, but that wasn't me. That was Steve-O giving credit to Eric Washington and how we seen more blitzes in the preseason. I will say this. That's probably why the defense was so pissed off at Matt Eberflus. The lack of aggressiveness, the lack of blitzes, the lack of creativeness, especially when things got tight. If you want to go out there and win and you believe that this defense is as great as we claim, you got to give these guys an opportunity and put the games in their hands. And Eric Washington might be the one that does that. And I would say this. The players probably was ticked off because they know the talent, but Matt Eberflus wants to constantly rush forward all the time, which is not a bad thing to do. But you go get Tremaine Edmonds because not only is he good at rushing the passer, it's because he can get after the fucking quarterback because he's big as hell as a linebacker. You allow him to do that. C-Dubb, we seen Kyler Gordon coming off corner blitzes in the preseason, knocking heads off. Where has that been consistently throughout the season? We've seen it, but where has it been consistently when you know that you have corners and linebackers and safeties and other linemen that can get after the quarterback if you dial it up? Stop giving these guys extra room to breathe. This Bears defense, with all the talent that's all around, should be suffocating teams. Just my personal opinion. But we'll see what happens with the game tomorrow for sure.
Bro. I think this will be the best overall game for the Chicago Bears. I think that the offense will run like a well-oiled machine. I think the defense will be stingy and stern. I think that the special teams will be special. The kickers will kick it far, and we will receive it without fumbling the ball. And the one reason I have is the proof that the players have to make. They have to prove that it wasn't them. They got to put it on wax, like my nephew say. So I expect them to come out there and play their best game of the season.
And I agree with you. I think that with all the players is no more excuses for my players. Mm-hmm. I ain't been giving them excuses for the last few weeks. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say this: you didn't like Shane Waldron, he's been fired. You didn't like Matt Eberflus, he's been fired. You all got all the guys in the locker room, most of the leaders on the leadership council too, talking in the media, talking in the press conference, yelling at the coaches. No more excuses. You all got what you wanted, and that was to get Shane out of there and then got Matt Eberflus out of there. They said they're going to play for Thomas Brown. I expect the Chicago Bears to come out with a lot of juice. And if they don't, get ready because I'm going to be calling some players out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're absolutely right, man. We finna see what the players are made of in this game. That's exactly what it is. What are the players made of? You gonna play for this young guy? I think y'all are probably gonna be most responsible for keeping Thomas Brown the job. It's gonna be y'all. So what y'all on?
What y'all on? Fair enough. But that is it from us today, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate y'all for sticking around this long. Before you get up out of here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions, feedbacks, comments, concerns, drop it down in the comment box below. If you want to be a part of the Mailbag episodes, hit the line, 773-242-9336. This your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears. I'm Bobby. That's C-Dubb. We up out of here. Bear down.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.